Um, but there are also other website builders that charge a fee. So just be aware that there are different costs associated with the services that you're asking for. But for the most part, because so many people have built websites and it's just such a ubiquitous business, like such a big business all over the world, they've made it really, really easy to build websites using some of these already pre-existing templates and plugins. So yeah, so before any of that, before we get into website building, we actually have to talk about website hosting, right? So you have your domain name, and now you have to attach that with a company that's actually going to put that on the internet, okay? So we have, was that a question?
I'm just asking if anybody has a domain name already, or if they ever like look it up.
Yeah, that's a great question. Does anybody have a domain name that we could all kind of look up right now? If you do, put it in the chat.
I don't know where's the chat.
It's on the right. If you click on, there's a little bubble that it says chat, so you can ask questions.
Yeah, it should be at the bottom of your screen. If you kind of move your mouse to the bottom, it'll show up.
Okay. Yes.
So you can continue, Tash. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So yeah, so like I said, you have the actual domain name. Oh, we got something in the chat here.
It says Mad Party Planners.
Okay. Is that your site? Should I go to madpartyplanners.com maybe?
I think that's my domain.
Okay. Well, let's. Why don't we try it out?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Is it .com?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like you have bought the web hosting. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you bought the web hosting through Bluehost, but you actually haven't. So wait, when did you just do this? Like just now?
No, maybe like a year or two. I renewed it. I don't remember exactly.
Okay. Well, as you see from the site here, this is what happens when you own a domain. When you're hosting a domain, which is Mad Party Planners, but you haven't actually propagated it. You haven't actually published your work onto it. And are you using WordPress by any chance?
I'm not sure because this is just something that it's not something. It's a future plan for my daughter and I, and she's the one that started creating the website. So I'm not sure how far she got into it and what she was using.
Okay, let me check something real quick. Okay, so it doesn't look like this is done through WordPress. What you're going to want to do is ask your daughter what type of web building software she was using. And then so you can continue on that, or you can alternatively just transfer. I mean, I'll kind of show you how later in this seminar. You can transfer this domain name since you already have one. You can transfer it to WordPress or to whatever to start your website building. So yeah, but you got to make sure you know the username and password for Bluehost, the actual domain site company.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of started talking about WordPress, and that's what we're going to go into next. WordPress is a website hosting service. So what you'll see here is 33% of all websites on the internet are made by WordPress. So they're a hugely successful company, and they make all of their stuff really user-friendly for editing websites or whatever. And it's also free to an extent. What we're trying to do with it, it's probably not going to be free. And when we say free, what they mean by free is if you actually buy the web hosting. So, for example, your domain name, denoragonzalez.com, costs $7 a year. Basically, included in that price, they'll give you the WordPress service. And actually, depending on who you go with, which domain services you go with, you'll also get a lot of other features. So I'll kind of talk about that to kind of let you know some of the features that you could potentially get. But there are also other website builders. I'll probably send out this list to y'all if y'all are interested. But we see here there's WordPress, there's even HostGator, which is a domain hosting company. They have their own website building software. Squarespace is really, really user-friendly. But because of that, they also serve a price premium, which means they're gonna charge more, essentially, because of how easy it is to use. But if you're really how do you say, like, illiterate in technology, or you don't really want to go through the time and all the minutia of building your own website, you can do it easier by getting an easier website builder like Squarespace. So, like I said, it does cost kind of a little bit more than the way I'm showing you, but it is easier. Not a lot easier, but it is easier. So that's something you might want to think about. And Wix is on there too, as well as GoDaddy. Any questions so far about domain hosting or website building?
Tosh, I just have a comment. This is Jackie. Good to meet you. So I'm a bakery, and I actually was IT for about 15 years. So I administered and maintained the Casino Arizona website for several years. And then I also designed Navajo Nation Human Resources website using Dreamweaver. And it's, it's kind of different because I don't have a lot of time now. And when I'm having to design my website at this point, I've already kind of looked around for different platforms to use, such as Squarespace, Wix, and there's like probably 2 other ones that I created accounts with. But my question is trying to figure out, buying the domain. A lot of the time, the Navajo Nation or whoever I was working for already had the domain already created. So I would just implement it and upload my version up to their domain. So with having to do mine from scratch and then using these different applications at this point, a lot of them I'm trying to figure out, because they won't give you the cost of your hosting your domain. And then just to use the tools, that's a different cost, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
you're paying for the tool itself, and then you're paying, but if it's free, you don't have a lot of those tools to utilize to make your website look really good. It limits your ability.
It does.
Like, I have to put videos, I have to put classes, I have to put my menu, and it doesn't really give me all those features. So I have to purchase something as well, and then I have to purchase my domain for however long I want to use it. I think they're broken down from year to 3 years, something like that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's something like that. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's the part I'm trying to figure out. Is it better to find a tool and then purchase the domain by itself, or use these features like Squarespace? It kind of walks you through the whole process, and then you purchase the domain.
See, that's kind of where I'm at with teaching this as well, is that you can do it either way. With your specific scenario, it sounds almost like you should be figuring out what the Navajo, whatever domain they've already bought, and you should be modifying it from there.
Yes, which I'm doing. I mean, which I did when I was working for them, but now I own my own business. So
Okay.
I'm doing it for my bakery. So I'm having to go from a whole different, you know, just I don't have the time to or the money to buy the applications. I'd rather just have it as easy as possible, because as a business owner, I'm the owner, I'm the dishwasher, I'm the seller,
Right,
You know,
right, exactly.
everything, the janitor, I'm the marketing, and now I have to do my own, you know, website, which I'm trying to launch at this time. It's just my space is not all there, you know, my time is not all there. So
Right, and I mean, what I would suggest from just watching my video is you try to make it as simple but as effective as possible. And there, like I said, I'm gonna introduce mostly the cheapest version of doing everything.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, from what I've gathered, there are three steps to website building. As I said, one of them is to think of the domain name for your business. It's probably the easiest one, but it also might turn out to be one of the most important ones. You know what I mean? Like, what if Google had called itself something else? What if Yahoo? You know what I mean? We could
Yeah.
think about the importance of names forever. And then you need to buy any sort of domain hosting. Now, this is where Jacqueline, what you were kind of saying, really holds true. Because when you're buying domain hosting, there's a lot of ways you can do this. And this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Because what I could do is I could buy Bluehost, which is already integrated with WordPress, which is already integrated with WooCommerce. And if I'm willing to pay a price premium, that stuff is essentially set up. And I didn't have to pay someone else to do it. I didn't have to whatever. If I can realize what is, I guess, my highest willing to pay. So what is the highest amount I'm willing to pay for a website right now? And what kind of benefits do I see coming out of it? So I'm going to kind of get into this later, but if you're setting up an e-commerce platform, basically a website just for buying and selling things, it might be actually better to set it up as a bundle with the WooCommerce platform plugin, and WordPress already comes with it. And with a lot of these packages, WooCommerce already comes with it.
So one of the question is, how much money are we talking about? Like, if you're using this, the Bluehost, or going through the process by yourself, like just to keep it at the lowest cost, how much will that be?
The problem is almost all of these things are based on variable cost structures. So depending on how much you are selling and at what quantity really determines what percentage of that sale that the company is going to be taking, essentially. So that's going to kind of come into play later when we're talking about actually setting up payment. If you want to get into it right now, we can. Or
I guess for the ladies, it will be easier to see how will you start building the website on WordPress, for instance.
Yeah. So why don't we start with that? So let's assume, okay, let's go to buying host space first. So you have your domain name, your address, your web address, www.jacqueline.com, right? And now you want to put it up somewhere. So one of your first possible hosts is Bluehost. It's one of the largest companies in the world. And they are fully integrated in WordPress, which is what I'm going to be kind of talking on. And here's the pricing for that, the initial pricing. If you'll look at the basic, which is what I'm going to suggest, you get one website, a free SSL certificate. Now, this is really, really important. And all hosting services, that you're considering should make sure you're getting this free SSL certificate. So can anyone tell me what is SSL? Does anyone know what that is? Can anyone answer that?
What was the question again?
What is SSL? It says here free SSL certificate. Can anyone tell me what that is or why that would be important?
From what I think I remember, SSL is a security feature. It's just an additional security feature from your hosting to your site. I think that's what it is.
Right. That's essentially correct. So whenever you're on a website, so I'm going to go ahead and share a website real quick. Say you're on madpartyplanners.com. Is that sharing with y'all?
No, it's not sharing.
Okay, I don't know what happened.
I think it's your computer. You need to share the.
Okay. Well, that's weird. All right. Well, it doesn't matter. But say you're sharing that, and then go on to the top right. The top right of the thing, and you'll see a little in the right on the top left, sorry, of the address bar where you actually type in your URL. You'll see a little lock, you know, and it'll say secure next to it. But basically that basically tells your customers or whoever is looking at your website, any proprietor of your website, that your website's essentially secure. Like you're not going to go in and start hacking them. And then, yeah, it should have 1 year free domain, 5 park domains. So that means you can have up to 5 domains and 25 subdomains. And then, yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you can get out of that. So Bluehost is good. I think particularly because they are, oh, here we go. Yeah, so madpartyplanners.com. You see this? It says not secure. Can all y'all see this? Yes, okay, cool. So yeah, this is where your SNL or your SSL would be important. It was
Not secured?
huh?
So it's not secured?
Yes, yours is not secured. But it also makes sense because you don't have anything up.
True.
So what is the risk of having a website that is not secure?
It puts all payment, especially if you're looking for payment from customers to buy your products on the site. If your SSL certificate is not valid, I mean, all of that information is at risk. So every legitimate web hosting domain that I put on my list here is going to have basically SSL for free for the entirety of whenever the domain is hosted. So most companies will not only host your domain, but they'll also provide security for it. Okay, so keep that in mind. Make sure that when your actual site, so for example, I just built this site just for the purposes of kind of teaching this, and we'll kind of go over it. But you'll see this is my, I'll put this, or actually Denora, if you could share this. So I set up the Quarantine Essentials shop. Can one of y'all try logging on to this website just to make sure? But we'll go back. We'll go into that a little bit later. Let's continue with. Sorry. Let's continue with the slideshow. Okay. Yeah, y'all have probably also heard of GoDaddy. They have good security. They host things, and then they make it also really easy. They also have a website builder. Not that I would suggest using their website builder, but they do have one. And then here's some of the prices. And these are the prices specifically with WordPress. They have other prices for hosting other types of websites, but $6.99 per month. As you'll see, it's a little bit higher than the $275 per month you were paying with Bluehost. So honestly, I would say that GoDaddy's prices are a little bit worse than Bluehost. HostGator, I do like. They also have low prices with Bluehost. If you're looking at the Hatchling plan, the thing with this is, like I said, all of this stuff. So as you see, free SSL certificate. The domain is included, and then you'll see up here free. You'll see WordPress and panel website transfer. So this is saying for building your website through HostGator, you can use WordPress, or they also have their own proprietary software. It's like a HostGator web builder. Super easy. As I said, all of this stuff, if you really want, just go onto their site. Just go to HostGator or go to GoDaddy or go to Bluehost and just look at what they're offering. But from my perspective, I would say Bluehost is probably the best, followed by HostGator. So the reason I'm saying this is because Bluehost automatically integrates WooCommerce, which is what you're going to need to accept payments, and also WordPress for building your website. Any questions so far?
Which one
I
was
have a
it?
question.
Mhm.
Okay, so even using HostGator or Bluehost, you know how there's different platforms for mobile and Mac and Windows. So, you know, when you use a mobile or more like an iPad or a pad and then your mobile unit and then your computer interface, I mean, would that be a feature in those also that would be in addition to the cost?
Honestly, a very excellent question. So yeah, on all three of these, using WordPress, you're going to be able to show. So there's actually, I might be able to show it on my screen. But basically, for every page you put up, for every website page you put up, you're going to be able to modify that exact page for how it's going on your mobile or your website. So you're going to be able to view both. And that's through that's actually through the website builder. That's not through the domain hosting itself. But all three of them are capable of adjusting how you're viewing it through your computer screen and also how you're viewing it on your mobile device. So that's a very good question. Anything else?
When you're building the website, can you actually see how is it going to look in each of the devices?
Yes, yes, you can. Depending on what software you're using. Like I said, on WordPress, you are able to. And we can kind of take a look at that once I go over there. Okay, so now we're kind of getting to the meat of kind of what we're doing. So what have we done so far? Can anyone remind me what we've done so far? Okay. We have bought our
Domain.
our domain hosting, right? And we've also created our domain. So what do we do now? Well, we need to actually build our website now. Okay, so what you need to do for the purpose, so as I've showed you before, there are tons of places that you can use to build these websites, right? We have WordPress, we have Gator by HostGator, we have Shopify, we have Wix, right? The one I'm going to be focusing on today is WordPress, because like I said, it's used for what, 36% of the internet are built by WordPress. So it's super huge. And then also, like I was saying earlier, there have been so many people who have built websites that they have templates galore. They have tons of templates. So it's almost like, yeah, you're just plugging in some sort of template and then editing the data you'd actually want. And Denora, if you want to share these YouTube videos, these are kind of getting into the more technical aspects that if I go into the technical aspects in this presentation, I won't be able to go through it all. Just because it's stuff like, hey, you need to make sure your heading, when you're adjusting your heading, you're doing this. And me actually going through and building that with you would take a lot longer than this is actually meant to. So there are some good resources there, and I have a ton of other good resources.
Well, we are going to be sharing this presentation to whomever needs it, and we have the PowerPoint, and I'll send it through email.
Yes. And I think we're coming to one of the most important topics, and I think it's probably something that y'all are all really interested in. And it's how do I add payment? All right, I'm essentially now having to go into this this digital platform to market and sell my products or services. And now how do I actually get that payment? So what I found is the easiest way is probably the way you're going to want to go, but it's the easiest way is to make a WooCommerce page. And I've kind of brought this up, but with WooCommerce, you can be charging through PayPal, through Stripe, through Square, through Google Pay, through Amazon Pay. I mean, WooCommerce is really, really integrated as far as a company for payment services. And the one thing about them is they're a little bit cheaper than you're going to see from the third-party payment processes. They're not going to take a monthly fee, but they're going to take 2.9% plus 30 cents for every transaction on a US issued card. And like I said, it's fully integrated with WordPress already. So just to kind of give you an idea of how that would look. So you are on. So can everyone see this? Everybody?
Yes.
Anybody? Yes. Okay. So this is your WordPress site. This is your WordPress home. So I went ahead because I wanted to practice. I went ahead and just bought a free domain. As you see, it is this domain, quarantine744265483.wordpress.com. So this is a free domain. No one's using this, and I can use WordPress to edit this in the free version. But a lot of the capabilities of the free version are left out. So that's why I had strongly suggested you got your website actually hosted and got a real website domain, because you'll see here, this is so to go into the account where you can actually edit it, click on WP Admin, and this will take you to your admin account. And from here, you can see kind of a lot of things. The first thing you're going to want to do, so say I got my hosting, I got my domain site, this is my domain site. Then I just signed on to Bluehost or whatever. I integrated it with WordPress, so I downloaded WordPress, and now I am here. You can do so many things from here. So to start, you can kind of look at what plan I bought. Like I said, I got a free domain, but to do most of the stuff, I didn't even have to upgrade my WordPress. Because I got a free domain name, my WordPress is not getting all the benefits from Bluehost or GoDaddy or HostGator. So they actually want me to pay for it to get any of those things. I'm not going to actually buy it here, but I will tell you how you can, once you actually have the real version, how you're going to be able to utilize some of that stuff. So as you saw, there were the plans. One thing is I wouldn't actually, you can actually host through WordPress, but I wouldn't just because then they're going to charge all of the add-ons separately. And all the important add-ons that you want from WordPress are usually bundled together when you buy it from HostGator. And what I mean by that is like WooCommerce. So I'm on my normal admin site. Let me go to my admin site. And from here, first thing you're going to want to do is want to go to plugins. And for you, because you actually paid for the domain to be hosted through one of the legitimate sites, it's not going to say this. It's not going to say upgrade to business plan to install plugins. You're actually going to be able to install those. And the first thing that I would do is I would go to manage and I would delete all the plugins that are already here, because some of them are going to come preloaded and you're not going to want to preload a lot of them. I've included a couple of YouTube videos with this seminar that Denora is going to give to y'all, but essentially what you're going to want to do is download a plugin for website building. So you come to your plugins, and then in featured, you'll see here WooCommerce. Depending on whether or not your hosting site has actually allowed you to download this free with it or not, this is what I was talking about. This is going to have your product, your cart, your checkout pages. It's actually going to have a whole storefront already built for you. So you know when you go to, I don't know, like jcpenney.com or Sears.com or whatever, some sort of e-commerce or Amazon or whatever, they're going to have the picture, then they're going to have the description, and then they're going to have the quantity, and then they're going to have the price, and then you're going to click on that, and it's going to take you to another page. This is going to do all of that for you. All you're going to have to do is insert the picture where it shows your product, and then the description, you're going to have to edit your own description. But all of the checkout, the page for the payments, the checkout, and then all of the key metrics and all of the stuff that you're going to be able to do with that stuff, they've already made it super easy if you're not the kind of person who wants to go way out of the way to do it yourself. This is going to be your easiest bet. And all the liabilities such as customer credit card information and whatever, that's all going to be here. So one of the things that I'm going to suggest for this seminar is you do use WooCommerce with your WordPress site. If you're building a WordPress site, if you're using Squarespace or anything like that, I mean, you can also use WooCommerce because they're big and they're integrated across platforms. So this is
basically for somebody who has like products that they want to sell online.
Products or services.
Oh, services.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, what they're going to be doing is taking 2.9% of every transaction. So just be aware of that. And then, like I said, if you actually host this through Bluehost or whatever and actually pay for the domain, this should be coming with it in a lot of the bundles. WooCommerce is actually included. So make sure that you see that if you're planning to go this route, make sure you see WooCommerce is included with the bundles. I think I had a bundle actually up here somewhere. But like, for example, if I put in Bluehost, WooCommerce, and they actually have a bundle right here with Bluehost and WooCommerce, and that's going to start at $3.95 a month. And that's going to be basically for your domain and for your ability to charge on your website. So I think that's super useful. The other couple, I mean, there are other ways that you can get payment processing. Another company I think that you might want to look at is Clover. And this is what's called a third-party processing software. So basically, you have a link on your website. And because you've already registered with the company, any person who clicks on that link is going to be redirected to another website to finish all the payment processing stuff. And that's done entirely on their end, again. I would say that this is definitely the easiest way. The third way, and probably the cheapest way, but probably the least effective way, would be PayPal. So on your website, say I'm here, go to my website, I go back to plugins. I can just type in PayPal, and there should be a free version where you're able to link your PayPal account with the PayPal plugin from WordPress, and you'll be able to do it from there. They'll also charge a fee per transaction, but I think it's a little bit less, but it's also a little bit more. It's all like, no, not everybody has a PayPal, right? But with WooCommerce, you can pay through, credit card, debit card, whatever. So just an option if you are trying to keep this as low budget as possible. You might just want to use the PayPal plugin, but just be aware if you do go this route that not everybody has a PayPal account. So WooCommerce is really your best option. And then one final thing I'm going to go over is just there are, like I said, even in WordPress, there are different ways to make website building easier. One of those is going to be Elementor. And I actually left a really good YouTube on the presentation that I gave. There's a really good tutorial for how to build really easy websites using Elementor. And like I said, a lot of this stuff is drag and drop. So I don't even have any website builder on my site right now, but I'm going to show you just how easy it is to build something like that. So you go to your WordPress admin, and then you go to, so instead of going to plugin, we're going to go to appearance, and we're going to go to theme. So as you see here, I have already just uploaded a whole theme for my website. So for example, if I wanted to change it to this, why don't I go ahead and check out what it looks like. So now we have my Quarantines Essential Shop website. This is your main menu. This is your main heading. And all this stuff is super easy to edit. As you see there, I clicked edit, and then I change it to whatever I want. But yeah, so this is just with the basic software they have. If you go ahead and install Elementor, then what I'm doing right now is even easier, right? All this stuff becomes drag and drop. So just with the basic website builder that they have with WordPress that comes free with it, everything's already super easy. You can already upload a template, right? Using the themes, you can upload a template, and then you can edit your template right here using widgets. So for example, if I say activate and save, I'm going to go ahead and use this template. Actually, so now I can go to my pages. And like I said, a lot of this stuff is just tinkering around. But I can go to my pages, and I can kind of see what all my pages look like. So here's my thing. Here's my about page. And then what do I want to do with my about page? Well, there's a lot of things I can do. I can edit it straight from here if I click on it, just using, once again, the very basic WordPress editor. I can do pretty much anything, right? I can edit the text in this block. I can click on this photo, and I can immediately just edit this photo out. I can just put all my media there, or I can even link it to like a YouTube file or something like that, right? So it just really depends on what you're trying to add here. So I want to add here an attachment page. And it'll be like youtube.com, right? Like I said, there are just so many ways that you can do things on here. But this isn't the most, like I said, this isn't the most effective way. The most effective way would be to download Elementor, which I can't get, or DV, which is also another good website builder. And then
What-
using that, drag and drop and building from there, because those are more user-friendly than the WordPress website builder.
What is DV? DEVY?
DIVI.
DIVI. Okay.
But yeah, there are some good ones. Let me see. Yeah. So yeah, DIVI, Beaver Build is a good one. Elementor is the one that I have learned how to use. And like I said, the way that you would get that is you would go to your WP admin page, your administrative page on WordPress. Then you'd go to plugins. And then you would go to search. And you would type in Elementor. Or you type in DIVI. Like DV section enhancer. And there are just, like I said, I can't really go into it because we're almost out of time, but there are just so many ways that you can update your website using WordPress and using it in conjunction with another website builder. Even like I showed you with the normal website builder, it's really not that difficult because you can go edit text, you can add hyperlinks, you can do whatever you want. One thing I'm going to show you really quickly, is you need to make sure that you're uploading a template that's close as possible to the website that you're trying to build. You have a question? Okay. So for example, if you go to themes, this would be the easy way to do it. So now you can see from a bunch of themes. When you have Elementor, you'll actually download an Elementor pack, which will have a lot more of these. So for example, if you're looking for a restaurant website, you would go up here and you would go to something like restaurant. It's not going to show up on the basic WordPress because this only comes with, I think, maybe like 50 preloaded websites. But the Elementor pack has like hundreds of them. So say you're looking for, I'm looking for a website for my restaurant. You'll be able to go and find an exact website that's just like your restaurant. And you'll be able to click on it and you'll be able to use that as your base template. And then remember, everything within that is customizable. So say I want just one page from this website, but I want the rest of my website to look like that. It's no problem, right? You just go to your admin page, and then you're going to go to your pages, and then you can just go to add new page, and then on your Elementor, from here, it'll actually let you pick which page that you're going to pick from a template. It should let me do that with WordPress also. It's taking a little while. But yeah, those are, like I said, those are just some essential ways for you to just take work that's already been done and just edit it slightly to meet the modifications for your website. And whether you're looking for a menu page or you're looking for a product services page, they have all that stuff already created for you to just adjust like slightly for your own website.
So Tosh, what is your advice to have ready before starting everything? I mean, obviously you need a computer, but like any kind of content, anything that you might advise to have before starting the whole process, like pictures or?
That's a really good question. And I think what you're going to need is going to be individual to each website. So for example, here's my here's my little website. Well, okay. So, for example, can anyone tell me what their website is? So, Jacqueline, can you tell me what your website is? You said it was a bakery, right?
I'm sorry, I was trying to unmute it. Yeah, so I'm a bakery, but I think mine is actually utilized by someone already. I can't really remember, or, well, anyway, it's I need sugar at yahoo.com.
Okay. Well, no problem.
KNEA, sugar, SUGAR.com. And it's actually not deployed because I keep playing with different sites to see which one I like better. But your last comment that you were talking about, because there's sites that I'll see and then I'm like, I like the way that unfolds, you know. I like clicking on that and you still have the background behind it. So what you just said is really, really good for me, because there's sites that I can see and I want to see where that is coming from or how it was designed, rather than doing it from, you know, trying to design it myself from Wix or other platforms.
Yes. A lot of, like I said, a lot of those companies that have created their own websites that are really have a lot of IP and stuff aren't going to give you that. But
Yeah.
you are going to get a lot of similar stuff just through Elementor. So
Yeah,
just so y'all know what I'm talking about. Like I said, when you go to search, go to Elementor, and you'll see you have the page builder, but you also have essential add-ons for Elementor. So make sure that you're downloading this, because this is what's going to have all those website templates for you to edit.
Okay. But yeah, my site is I need sugar at yahoo.com. But I think that's another point. I think it wasn't available or something. I can't remember, but it directs me to .net, .us, different dot somethings in the background. So I hate to go with .net because nobody ever likes to use .net. I don't like .net. There's .org and there's some other extensions. But
So how about if you use like a -az or like something that makes it like that is from wherever you are and just keep the same name? Have you ever tried that?
I've heard of that. I mean, I've tried to do that, but a lot of people, I mean, I think I've heard other designers, as far as website designers, that say, you know, it's not very beneficial, just because I think I ended up doing ineedsugargallup.com, because usually hyphens or colons or things like that inside your address aren't always going to be remembered by your customers.
True.
No.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. You really do need to take some time to find a URL that you think is going to work for your business. Like for example, like the URL I got, quarantine7442654. I mean, it's just not like there's a reason they're giving this URL out for free.
Yeah.
So you need to take some time to figure out what is that you like. What kind of brand? What is your brand, right?
In the case that your name is taken, what is the best advice? What do you need to do, Tosh?
I mean, you just have to think of one that you. You just have to think of a different one that you think is good.
You just have to wait it out and see when they drop their subscription.
Or you could do that. I mean, that is an alternative way. You can see how much in the future they have their domain, because that's all public knowledge, I believe. You can see how far in advance the domain is until it expires. But I really wouldn't recommend that route. I would just pick a new URL.
I'm just kidding.
Just last thing I wanted to say is about menus. As you kind of saw on this page, I have my home, I have my blog, I have my about, I have my connect. When you actually edit stuff within when you edit stuff within the pages tab, you can actually add them to menus. And then if you need to create a new menu, so say I want to create a products menu, I can just create it right here. And that'll, like I said, everything's pretty well integrated. Where this will propagate, it should say products here in like maybe 5-10 minutes. But there's just a lot of stuff you can do. You can, you can change this picture. You can change the whole layout depending on what template you use, all the hyperlinks, the frameworks, and then even the menu itself you can edit. So, like I said, it's pretty. I think it's pretty easy because there have been so many people who have done it that they've created a lot of templates for you to just go insert and then edit. But it really just depends on your level of how much online commerce do I want to do, or how much do I think my site is going to make a difference in the overall revenues of my business and the overall brand recognition, or whatever. So anyway, that's my little presentation. I'm now open for Q&A and also the social media part. So thank you.
Any questions, anybody? I mean, I would love to hear what kind of businesses that you have, and if you have any websites or any presence at all. I mean, most people use now social media and they skip in the websites, but I think it's important if you have a business that is established, and especially now that everybody is going through changes, you're just trying to get customers. So if you establish a website, it's a way for you to start selling your products.
I just have a comment. I heard in one of those webinars regarding, domains and hosting, that to choose a name for your website, you can go to Google and type in then trends, like TRENDS, and but I don't remember exactly. Maybe Tash can tell me about a little bit more about this website. But you could see all the searches, the most popular that people are looking for, and that will tell you, so like about the name, and also will give you an idea how you can create your domain based on what it is most popular. I don't know if it is a good idea or not.
Yeah, so there, Google Analytics, and also the hosting platforms that I was talking about earlier, like GoDaddy, Bluehost, all of them have a ton of resources for SEO or just any sort of analytic data collecting. They even have a bunch of plugins for that. As far as using that to drive your decision on your website URL, I'm not quite sure if that's. It might be. So for example, I could go to.
I found the website. It is on the chat.
Oh yeah, Google Trends. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they have a lot of good stuff on. A lot of Google Trends, Google Analytics. They all have a ton of really useful sort of data and metadata that you can use.
Yeah, because I think it is important that you can create your domain based on what is popular, so it doesn't take too long for people to start looking for your website and to be on the searchers, right?
That's true. I think that is a good method. Another good method along those same lines is to download a plugin that does something similar to that. I think Google has those plugins. So once you actually have your WordPress site set up, you can actually download plugins that do a lot of the similar stuff. It'll actually tell you what on your website is the most clicked on. It can tell you what on your website is the most bought, and I don't know. As far as general Google Trends, I mean, I think that does have a use, and I think it can be useful. But I think trends on Google, like that kind of Google, they're more like short-term trends. So trying to use those for a long-term strategy is possible, but it might be more difficult. But I think that's a good idea still.
Well, I think that we are over the time, and I want to thank you everybody for being here today. And I think the presentation for social media, I'm going to pass it for next week because this is already an hour. And I want to thank you, Tosh, for taking the time and being here with us, sharing all this wonderful content. I think is very useful. And like I said, if anybody wants me to send you the presentation, send me your email, write it on the comments, and I'm more than happy to send you the presentation, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And like I said, feel free. I'm going to put my email here in the messages. So if you want me to look at your website, or if you have some questions regarding, I don't know, pricing or capabilities or whatever, just feel free to send me an email, please.
Bye. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.